call this meeting of the Buckeye Board of Education to order. This is Tuesday, July 10th. It is 7:11 p.m. Roll call, please. Parker?
Here.
Duncan? Here. Varchi? Here. Stella?
Here.
Please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
This meeting is a meeting of the Board of Education in public for the purpose of conducting the school district's business, and is not to be considered a public community meeting. There is a time for public participation during the meeting as indicated in the agenda. Approval of minutes. Recommend that the Board of Education approve the minutes for the special and regular meetings of June 12th, 2018 and June 24th, 2018. A motion, please. Second.
Second.
Any questions or comments about the minutes? Roll call, please. Haverty?
Yes.
Bell?
Yes.
Barco?
Yes.
Gunkelman? Yes. Following are recommendations that have been identified for approval as part of the consent agenda for this meeting. If a board member wishes to remove any item from this agenda for further discussion prior to taking action, please let either the superintendent or board president know. Item K. Under superintendent's recommendations. Approval of consent agenda. Recommend that the Buckeye Board of Education approve the consent agenda of July 10th, 2018 as presented. A motion, please.
So moved.
Second. Second. And we have added item K to superintendent's recommendations, and this is the sale of Litchfield.
Yes.
All right. Roll call. Barco?
Yes.
Havarchi?
Yes.
Stahl?
Yes.
Duncan? Yes. Treasurer's report. Recommend that the Buckeye Board of Education accept the treasurer's report as presented, including all internal budgets and other certificates and appropriations to the county auditor as on file in the treasurer's office. A copy of the documents are attached to the board members' agenda as appendix A and B. Request for advances. Recommend that the Buckeye Board of Education authorize the treasurer to advance the following amounts retroactive to June 30th. These amounts are in addition to the previously approved advance amounts. Those values are listed there, and they're all from the federal funds from the general fund to the federal fund to make them whole, so we get the cash request back from the federal fund. Final appropriations and amended certificate of estimated resources. Recommend that the Buckeye Board of Education approve the final appropriations and amended certificate of estimated resources for fiscal year 18 as presented in Appendix C. The permanent appropriations and amended certificate of estimated resources for fiscal year 19. Recommend that the Buckeye Board of Education approve the permanent appropriations and amended certificate of estimated resources for fiscal year 19 as presented in Appendix C. A motion, please.
So moved.
Second.
Second.
Any questions or comments or further explanations? Unless you have any questions. All right, then roll call. Barco?
Yes.
Haverchi?
Yes.
Stahl?
Yes.
Duncan? Yes. Public participation. The public is invited to speak to any of the agenda items and other school topics. Comments should be limited to 3 minutes. Direct questions will not be answered by the Board of Education members at this time. However, answers will be given at a later date as appropriate. If you wish to speak tonight, I would like you to identify yourself as you speak. And I see we have a crowd, so there must be something we want to talk about. Yes, ma'am.
I'm a Buckeye Junior High School cheerleader.
And your name?
Bryn Hodson.
Okay.
We've heard that our coach
Take a deep breath.
Bryn, is it okay if we talk for you now? Yeah. My name is Suzanne Verostek, mom of 2 Buckeye students. We're all here in support of Coach Wren. We understand that there's been some new changes, some rules that have come down that preclude her from being able to coach. I guess the question that we're all wondering is, we've invested quite a bit of time and money already into this season, and for this change to happen now seems a little suspect. So, we're just curious why, after all of these years, this is being enforced. What is the AHJ that is actually coming and enforcing this for you? What is the repercussion if you don't follow through with this? And I understand you can't answer these questions now, but they will be answered in the future, so we appreciate that. And then, is there any chance that we can reinstate her as coach?
I can at least address a little bit of it.
Okay, thank you.
This is the first time that the information has come to this board about the, I want to say the title correctly, the Fair Labor Standards Act. And because of the information and consulting with our attorney, our school district attorney, it is not something that we can continue to do.
And we understand, and we wouldn't want to put the school or the district in jeopardy, especially for penalty or fine. We certainly can't afford that. However, it's ironic that fair is in the title of what is justifying her absence. However, she's also been told she can't volunteer, and we don't understand if she's willing to donate her own time. Why is she precluded from volunteering in the position?
Do you want to address that only because you have a business and you know how this works in your business?
Several of us have businesses as well, and we get it, the legal point, and then who has to be on premises, and those types of things. However, there are other coaches who are volunteers who are given access to the premises. We certainly don't want to throw them under the bus, but if you could explain a little bit.
The difference that I see is the difference between an employee of the district and somebody who is volunteering who is not an employee. It's like you're asking your employee to give you extra time in the eyes of the Fair Labor Standards Act.
Even if no one asks her to volunteer, if it's her idea, sign something that says that releases you of any liability.
I can't answer that because I don't know
Sure.
the answer to that question. Teachers are different classification.
Sure. When we get salaried and
They're
An
not
hour.
salaried and they are specifically excluded from the Fair Labor Standards Act. So that's where the supplementals are really supplementals
sure.
that teachers can pick up on.
And I'll let other people talk as well, but one more comment then is, so we would respectfully request then that this become urgent, that the position be posted immediately, so that someone can fill it immediately, so that they can begin practicing. You've been part of the school system. There's a sense of urgency here to get the girls up and running for the season before school starts. So thank you.
Yeah, young ladies who are here tonight, or gentlemen, it has nothing to do with Ren. It's just us taking care of a law and information that came to us that we could be liable about if we don't follow through. So it has nothing to do with the person in this. She's a wonderful lady, and I know she's done a lot of things Yes.
Anna Novotny, I also have 2 children here at Buckeye. May I ask when it was communicated about the Fair Labor Standards Act?
Why?
When? The date that it was communicated to the district and the athletic department,
It was communicated to the Board of Education at our work session,
which
which
was,
was June 25th.
Wow.
so that was the first anybody in this district had heard about it,
That's the first this board heard about it.
because apparently this came out April 9th, which was after practices and tryouts were held, and parents paid significant amounts of money to send our daughters to camp.
Which is when?
It was,
It was, we've
It
already
was?
paid it.
and they've already gone and attended,
And uniforms.
yes, for the junior high girls at least, we paid for uniforms.
We're not looking to cutting any programs here.
But if you can't find a replacement, what is our option?
Well, the idea is to find a replacement, as this woman said, immediately.
I understand that, but it's July 10th and school starts in, what, 5 weeks? So by the time you actually post the application, get people to apply, get them certified, all the background checks, you're probably looking at least 4 weeks before practice can even be held. And games will start very shortly after. So our girls will have had no practice, nothing.
Can we put a bridge plan in place, potentially?
Well, I think obviously, those are all the things we have to consider as we move forward here.
I'd like to speak. My name's Ann Vogt. I'm a community member. We have 1 child in Buckeye now. We've had 2 kids in Buckeye. And my husband runs a business. I have had very high positions. I'm a compliance officer, so I certainly understand laws and rules. I also understand the risk profile that you've had somebody in place for 12 years, so to have them in place for 1 more season until you choose to comply probably wasn't going to put the district at significant liability. So I would ask for you to consider that. She's been in this position for 12 years. The truth of the matter is that no matter how expeditiously you go, you are compromising these junior high cheerleaders' season. The parents have already paid significant amounts of money. There's no reason for us to believe that she was not the coach, that she was not going to be in place. We paid for camp. She went on a school bus to camp. We were communicated to by the athletic department. For there not to be anybody at the meeting that we had today where the coach was told to tell us, with no representation from this administration, to say, this is why it happened, this is what's in place, this is what we're doing about it, is completely unacceptable. It's completely unacceptable. You have girls crying because they think they're not going to have a season, and clearly there's no urgency here.
Tell me what meeting you had today.
The coaches had a meeting with us because they were told that they needed to tell us that they were no longer their coaches. So the girls had to bring in their uniforms, bring in their bags, and they were told that they no longer had a coach. And they didn't know why, that they had asked to talk to the treasurer. The treasurer told them that she would be back in touch with them next year. They had no idea why this happened.
Repeat that.
They told us, they gave us dates that they have contacted Kent Morgan and the treasurer, asking specifically why this was put in place so that they could understand. The most they got was an email from the treasurer saying that you were finishing your physical year and you would be back in touch next year with them. Mr. Morgan told them that it was a guideline that we were choosing to comply with, and that they needed to talk to the treasurer. And nobody was at this meeting to tell the parents what was going on, except for 2 coaches who, frankly, were in tears the entire time.
All right, thank you. Yes, ma'am.
And my name is Sherry Graham. My daughter's a high school cheerleader. And Heather was the other coach who was Bren's daughter, who is the JV and was going to do JV and freshman. Jamie, who is the varsity coach, is due to deliver in 2 days. And Heather was to take over until Jamie could come back to proceed with after the baby. So once she goes on maternity leave, even if you are putting somebody else in place, who's going to train this person? If you don't have Ren to help her and to help Heather. At least with Ren, you had a seasoned person, and you had Heather, who was a seasoned person. Heather coached last year. So with Jamie gone, I mean, Ren at least kept she's been in. So we just don't understand what the plan is.
They're very good questions.
I mean, I think if Jamie, like I said, with Jamie, any minute, Jamie could be in labor right now. We have nobody now. And you're going to be bringing in who these girls know. These girls will have nobody then.
Mm-hmm.
They will know nobody.
All right, thank you. Yes, ma'am.
My name's Jenny Elder, my daughter Olivia. This is her first year as a cheerleader. And Ren has been such a help to her, getting her, set up and everything. And we paid for camp, $300 and some dollars. We paid for cheer clothes, $200 and some dollars. We paid, this has become a very expensive sport. And to go in today and to have it told with the coaches crying, and we don't know if they're going to have a coach or going to be able to, keep cheering. She had to bring her stuff back to put on, it's heartbreaking and it's very upsetting.
They turned in their uniforms, is that what it is?
Yes, she was told, Ren told us to bring the uniforms, bring the pom-poms back, the cheer bags, everything that, the girls had, and we had to drop them off at the school tonight.
Well, I'm going to be honest and say some of this is new information to me, so I appreciate the information, yes.
And I think one of the things that everyone's concerned about is it says the guideline. I reached out to a friend of mine who is an athletic director at another school district asking specifically if hourly district employees that are not teachers, if they can coach. And he said anyone can coach as long as they pass all background checks and all certifications.
Well, that's not total, they can coach, but we are going to be under a huge financial obligation to pay them overtime, not just the supplemental, overtime.
Again, understood, but you guys found this out, there wasn't an alternative solution. Usually when an employee is let go or demoted or something, there is a plan of action in place. Right now, there's no plan. These girls have nothing.
And I'm not going to argue a point or anything. I just want to hear what you have to say. Is there anyone else who needs to say something tonight?
Yeah, I do. My name is Dan Whitmer. My daughter's actually, this is her first year cheerleading. She hasn't cheered since she's been a little tot. But I guess you had mentioned something about a financial obligation. Was that the reason they were let go? You said that the overtime and so forth, was that the primary reason they were let go?
Here's what I know, which obviously is not everything yet. Most school districts do not have hourly employees coaching or taking supplementals. Most school districts will not do that. And the reason they will not do that is because they end up paying way too much money to someone because they need to pay them overtime when they do that. So that's why most school districts do not do it. I'm not saying we couldn't do it.
Right. What was done last year?
Yeah.
I guess my question is, what was done last year? You knew of the financial obligations that you had, correct?
I didn't know.
Well, someone on the board knew of the financial obligations.
This board didn't know.
And the thing is what you're doing is you're pulling the rug from underneath the girls, is what you're doing.
Yeah, and we don't want to do that.
I think there was a rash decision that was made up here.
I understand.
And you don't understand that there was a lot of money that these parents have paid for their girls to go in and learn new cheers. Now you're going to bring somebody else new in that these girls already learned new cheers for the year. This new person's not even going to know them. So it's unfair to these girls what they've learned already. Now you're bringing someone new in to teach them all over. And also, too, as someone had mentioned, it's going to probably take 4 or 5 weeks to hire someone. What are these girls really going to be able to do?
Would it be out of the question financially for the district to pay her the overtime just for that, just to bridge the gap until a new person is hired on? So that they can continue to practice. That might be a reasonable compromise.
I think we can consider a lot of things. We do have executive session after our board meeting tonight, and so you've certainly given us some things to add to our discussion.
When can we follow, we'd like to ask if you could consider that you pay her just until someone is found.
And her daughter too,
And her
because
daughter.
there's also a junior varsity team as well.
And we will compromise in cutting down the number of practices maybe once a week so that it's not as much of a burden financially for the district.
Right now, they're practicing twice a week.
So
One to
we
three.
can cut down, but as long as it doesn't stop completely. So when would we be able to follow up after your executive session to see what you decided?
I think we can, I don't know if you have a spokesperson in your group, or if you have an email chain, or, how do we get in touch with?
Well, the other concern we have too is we have a lot of fundraising that we're getting set to do. And our big concern, I know at the high school level, is our big concern is, Chris Thomas is involved in that, is that we're getting ready to start that, and parents might not be too inclined to want to do that. One in particular is going to be the street fair, is a huge fundraiser for at a high school level.
It is for junior high. So.
And junior high
And
also.
junior high.
And I'm sorry, I apologize, that's true. The junior high, how do we go about and say, come on, let's go down to that dunk tank, and they're gonna be like, for what? But that is, and then we do put everything does fall, which I'm sure it will. I have all confidence in everything will work out, I do. But it's going to be real, but we start that now, just like every other sport. So, we just want to we just kind of want to have that ability, but it's going to be really hard to get parents, kids and parents to.
We will work through the athletic director.
Give her mine.
The girls know the cheers, they've been to camp, that's what camp's all about. If we could just get like a practice a week, with, and then like I said, we're really concerned with Jamie going and having the baby, and we need Heather for high school, and we need Ren for junior high. We'll compromise with that until we get someone hired, or until you guys get someone hired, and so we can continue to do the fundraising part, keep the girls going, keep everyone happy, and so we can get things rolling. I believe if everyone agrees, I think that would be a good compromise, just to give something, give the girls back their stuff. Back all their things they pay. I mean, I think that was heartbreaking. High school did not have to do that.
Because they have a coach.
I mean, that was heartbreaking.
I'm not quite sure why that
Because high school
happened.
has a coach,
Because
an alternate coach.
Ren said she's the coach, she's responsible for their equipment, she passed it out, so she has to be the one to give it back to Mr. Harrington. She can't just assume that a new coach is, I think that's probably
Her thought process.
her thought process, right? I don't think she wasn't trying to hurt the girls, I think she was thinking that she passed it out, she's responsible for it.
All right.
You know what, if you're looking for someone to contact after the meeting tonight, I'd be happy to leave you my number and my email address. I can do that.
And I'll be the person for the junior varsity as well.
And then we will post on the Buckeye homepage so that everyone can access it.
Do you want to pass that
I'll get
to
it for
the
you.
two ladies to write down?
Thank you.
And then another point, my name's Mary Rostic,
Okay.
and another point that nobody has gone over yet is that our coach personally knows information that no other coach could replace because of what we've learned at camp. She personally has information that nobody was expected to know except her because she was our coach and our coach only, and that just can't be replaced with someone else because of the knowledge she already owns personally.
There's a quick question.
Yeah.
My name is Jennifer Thompson, I'm Friend's mom. I don't know much about you, but if the overtime is an issue, and do you have to pay her next year? I mean, if the overtime is an issue and she's saying I'll do it for free,
I still have to pay. All right, I really do appreciate everything that you have given to us tonight, and we'll get back to you as soon as we can. Thank you very much. You're welcome.
My side too, just, even if they don't ask for it, but you never know.
Thank you. Thank you.
No, I'm actually, both my first two chairs. I'm a non-teacher, say non-teacher.
I think I already
No, I just work in the medical field and everything's illegible, so I always make a conscious effort to keep everything neat. Here, and then I'll leave my number. Okay, so Zoom. Okay, thank you. Thank you so much. I never got to now I know. No, this is okay. I just happened to
I
have.
guess I should ask one more time if there's anyone else who wishes to address the board this evening.
I did.
Thank you.
You guys get to be front and center. You guys are honoring. I'll sit down.
All right, we'll continue now with the superintendent's informational items.
Thank you. The first item is a Business Advisory Council update. Appendix E, I wanted to highlight that we've been meeting once a month. We have another meeting tomorrow morning, and we have a number of county schools that are there along with our county businesses that are represented. And we've kind of worked our way through the general feel of the committee was that the businesses wanted to express the things that they are finding that are struggles or challenges to them with new employees, and to ask the school to be aware of those issues and to see what schools are doing, what they can be doing to help address those shortcomings, those frustrations that they're seeing with new employees. And so it's been, we've worked our way through some things, and we're starting to get into some of the meat of what we are probably going to end up seeing, be some of the things we're sharing with the schools and asking different buildings or grade levels to be attending to some certain skills. And you see the information that we've been working on, we're going to continue tomorrow, is the soft skills prioritization chart. And what we've done is there's been a number of things that have been identified that the group has then said, you know what, that's not really something the schools can address, or that seems to be more personally associated with a certain business, and they've realized that's not something that schools should be addressing. And so you see that they've also identified the different skills there, or the categories about if you don't do this, you're going to get fired, and if you it might be something that's required for every job, or you need to have that skill to get a job, or to keep a job, or to move up in management. That's a wide spectrum of skill areas, and the level of information that would be required for a student to have to not get fired is completely different than to keep a job or to get a job, than to show management skill. I mean, there's a time span here. And so I think what the businesses have realized is that their issues are legitimate, but we need to really kind of pinpoint what exactly are schools not focusing on that would be benefiting. But some of those things that businesses are struggling with, they might need to focus on addressing themselves.
Sure.
If that makes sense. And so it's been a very collaborative group, and again, that's our requirement with the new law requirements. And so we are getting some good feedback there, and I will continue to update you quarterly in regards to what we're discussing. And if there's any, it's an open meeting. And most businesses are attending, and we're getting that have been a part of it from the very beginning. So
Where do they meet?
We meet up at the balcony room of the county office.
Oh, okay.
Balcony B, I think.
Okay.
Yeah. That's
Quarterly?
We actually meet every month. So this will be the second Wednesday of the month at 8:30. It's 8:30 to 9:30 typically.
Okay.
And they actually made the comment that is an open meeting, but nobody knew it was coming. It's just those that were part of the steering committee.
Right, but now
So
it is.
they've kind of stressed that would be nice to have other interested parties come in. So
And we're talking 8:30 a.m.
Yes, yes. Any other questions on that? Item B, junior high parking lot, that's still scheduled for July 23rd. So that will be something that you will see at our next board meeting, which hopefully will be taken care of. Item C, just wanted to remind everyone that we are a district, much like many other districts, that are still looking for substitutes as custodians, bus drivers, and paraprofessionals. We have had a few bus drivers. We ended the year, I think, with 2 routes not being filled, and we've had about 3 or 4 interested drivers come in, and so we're hoping to have our transportation might be a little bit more staffed, and hopefully we won't have to do double runs or split our runs up. So hopefully that'll be a better start to our transportation schedule for this coming school year. And that is all I have for my informational items.
All right, thank you. Superintendent's recommendations.
Item A, approval of the OPSI contract. Recommend the Buckeye Board of Education approve the contract agreement between OPSI 216 and the Buckeye Local School District. The effective dates are from July 1st, 2018 through June 30th, 2021. Item B, approval of Medina County Juvenile Detention Center contract. Recommend that the Buckeye Board of Education approve the memorandum of understanding with Medina County Juvenile Detention Center regarding the placement of Buckeye students for the 2018-19 school year. A copy of the contract is attached to board members' agendas as Appendix F. Item C, approval of Summit County Educational Service Contract. Recommend that the Buckeye Board of Education approve an agreement with Summit County Educational Service Center for a Buckeye student participating in the Kids First TOPS program at the Robert J. Keegan Family Center for Autism for the 2018-19 school year. A copy of the contract is attached to board members' agendas as Appendix G. Item D is the final reading. Recommend that the Buckeye Board of Education approve the final reading of the following policies. Copies of the policies are attached to board members' agendas as Appendix H. Item number 1 is Policy 6320 Purchases, and Item 2 is Policy 6325 Procurement Federal Grants Funds. Item E, approval of the revised 2018-19 school calendar. Recommend the Buckeye Board of Education approve the revised back of the 2018-19 school calendar as submitted. A copy of the calendar is attached to board members' agendas as Appendix I. Item F, approval of construction consultant. Recommend the Buckeye Board of Education enter into a purchase service agreement with John List to provide consultation for the construction of the Buckeye baseball field. A copy of the contract is attached to board members' agendas as Appendix J. Item G, agreement with Camp New Hop. Recommend that the Buckeye Board of Education approve the 2018 agreement with Camp New Hop in Perrysville, Ohio for the Buckeye Intermediate 6th grade class. The educational outdoor camp dates are October 8th to the 10th, 2018, with the cost of $105 per student. A copy of the agreement is attached to board members' agendas as Appendix K. Item H, agreement with Evolve Academy. Resolved, the Buckeye Board of Education approve a contract for admission of Buckeye students with Evolve Academy for the 2018-19 school year. A copy of the agreement is attached to board members' agendas as Appendix L. Item I, free and reduced lunch program. Recommend that the Buckeye Board of Education grant approval for the district's participation for the 2018-19 school year in federal free and reduced lunch program approved by the State Department. Item J, 2018-19 school lunch fees. Recommend that the Buckeye Board of Education approve the Buckeye Food Service recommendation for the Buckeye Local Schools 2018-19 lunch prices to remain the same as the 2017-18 school year. And item K, recommendation for the sale of Litchfield Elementary School building. Recommend that the Buckeye Board of Education approve the resolution to initiate sale of the Litchfield Elementary School building as presented in Appendix N.
All right, a motion for these items, please.
Motion.
Second,
I'll second.
any questions or comments on any of these?
Couple of comments. The juvenile detention center contract. I thought that was kind of strange that we can't, if there is a student that is not a Buckeye student that gets charged, we can't argue that.
If they're placed there by the courts, then we're responsible for.
Yeah, but if they're not a Buckeye student and we get charged, we can't argue that, as I read the contract. It's determined at the time of intake. And,
Oh, so if they determine it's a Buckeye, even if it's not accurate?
yeah, that we don't have a choice in the matter. I thought that was kind of strange. And the other thing is the revision to the school calendar is makeup days at the end of the school year.
Yes.
And so people ought to take a look at that so they know if we do run out of days, how they'll be made up.
I will send an email with that to everybody following our meeting up tomorrow.
Do you want to do anything with that juvenile detention center contract?
No, I
or-
just thought it was kind of, I'm guessing that is you got it there, right?
Yeah,
You see what I'm talking about?
I haven't found it yet.
Even if the student,
If the person at intake makes a mistake,
Where is that? What paragraph are you in?
well, I have to find it first. Because I'm just going from what I read.
The student's residency is on the second page under financial obligations. The student's residency is confirmed by the parole officer at the time of intake.
But before that, it says the school district of residence is financially responsible.
Yeah.
So I think it's just saying who confirms that at the time.
It says no residency disputes will be accepted.
That's
Oh, that's
the
where,
part that
I would guess that might be where they might have been a Buckeye resident and then their family might move to another location and now they're transient potentially and trying to chase down where the,
so they
well,
don't,
these are generally for temporary periods. So it's
Right.
not a huge,
I mean, we can
But
follow, I don't
understand.
ever remember us having any issue with any of them.
okay.
that I'm aware of. Do you have any recollection?
no,
You either, because you would have been,
right, no, I don't.
okay. So we're okay to leave it go? All right, then, roll call.
Stop.
Yes.
Barkova.
Yes,
Haverty? Yes. Kunkelman?
Yes. Personnel items.
Personnel, item A, certified personnel recommendations of Buckeye Board of Education through the following personnel items as presented. We have item number 1, renewal of extended time contracts. Recommend the Buckeye Board of Education approve to renew the following extended time contracts for the 2018-19 school year as presented. Item 2, employment. Recommend the Buckeye Board of Education approve to hire Kevin Jacob, Buckeye High School Principal, effective August 1st, 2018. Mr. Jacob will pay $118,000 a year and receive a 2-year administrative contract. This contract is on file in the Treasurer's Office. Child care leave request. Recommend the Buckeye Board of Education accept the unpaid child care leave request from Sarah Harrison, 5th grade teacher. Ms. Harrison has requested the child care leave for the 2018-19 school year. Item 4, family, oops, I'm sorry, I just enlarged my print, lost it. Family medical leave request. Recommend the Buckeye Board of Education accept the FMLA leave request from Laura Bevan. 7th grade science teacher Ms. Bevan has requested FMLA leave until September 24th, 2018. Item B, certified substitutes. Recommend the Buckeye Board of Education approve the attached list of certified substitutes/tutors recommended by the Medina County Schools ESC to work on an as-needed basis for the 2018-19 school year. A copy of the list is attached to board members' agendas in Appendix M. Item C, classified personnel. Recommend the Buckeye Board of Education approve the following personnel items as presented. Number 1, unpaid leave of absence. Recommend the Buckeye Board of Education approve the unpaid leave of absence request by Tammy Cabot Manning, bus driver, effective August 9th through December 31st, 2018. Item 2, continuing contract. Resolve the Buckeye Board of Education approve a continuing contract for Vera Catano Vaca, high school cook, effective May 29th, 2018. Item D, supplemental contract approval. Recommend that the Buckeye Board of Education approve the following supplemental contracts, pending certifications as well as resignations effective the 2018-19 school year as listed. We have also mentioned it was resolved by the Buckeye Board of Education that the board has offered the positions to those employees of the district who are licensed and no such employee qualified to fill the position has accepted it. In addition, since no other qualified and licensed individuals applied, pursuant to ORC 3313.53, the Board of Education approves the following supplemental contracts for a non-licensed individual. All supplemental contracts will be issued based on student minimum participation guidelines. Michael Widows, JV Boys Soccer. Mr. Widows' employment is pending finalization of the employment requirements. Shane Hotchkiss is Boys Girls Golf. And we have a resignation from Brianna Shemgary, JV Girls Soccer.
All right, a motion, please.
Motion.
Second.
I'll second that.
Could I introduce our new high school principal? and his family?
Absolutely.
Hi, I'm Kevin Jacob, and I'm here with my family, my wife Julie, my daughter Madeline, and my son Kyle. And I just want to thank the board for the opportunity to come work here at Buckeye. Obviously, you see how passionate people are about education here and the extracurricular activities that round off education. So it's a good problem to have when people are upset about good people and not the other way around. So I'm so excited to be a part of a great educational community, and hopefully I'll be instrumental in helping advance us to even further heights. So thank you so much for the opportunity. I look forward to working with each of you and the community.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Congratulations. Thank you. Thank you.
Madeline,
How are you? Voted yet?
are you excited? All right then. Any comments or questions on other items here in the personnel recommendations?
We have one that's pending finalization of all employment requirements. It's not going to be involved with anything until those are finalized.
Correct. Our fax was broke today, believe it or not, and we got an empty fax for it, so we just have, we
Okay.
believe it to be accurate, I just don't have the actual.
Okay.
So I asked them to scan it and email it to me.
Okay.
We still have a fax.
Yes.
It's not reliable. And we prefer not to be used. It's not reliable.
No.
All right, then roll call. Stop.
Yes.
Bavarchi.
Yes.
Marco.
Yes.
Kunkelman. Yes. Yeah. We'll do board comments first. Mr. Stahl, we'll start with you.
Just welcome to you and your family. Orange looks great on all of you.
It does, I was just thinking that.
And Barb took care of and answered all the questions on the cheerleaders. We'll definitely look into that. But summers went really fast, and I'm at the school almost every day dropping someone off or something. And I don't know, school's gonna start in another weeks, and it's awesome. So very quick summer now. But thank you for everyone coming to the meeting as well.
Mrs. Bavarchi.
Well, I'd like to welcome to our district, to our family. We like to think of it that way. And the kids are adorable, and they'll all look great in orange here at the Buckeye event. So thank you. It's our pleasure to have you.
I got lucky, look like mom. So
Thank you very much. Aw, sweet.
Mr. Barco.
Welcome. Glad to have you on board. And I thank everyone for coming out in the middle of summer.
Absolutely.
This is unusual to have the numbers that we have. That's why we're in a small room.
With no air conditioning.
Yeah, obviously.
I'd like to also welcome you, Mr. Jacob, and your family. I don't know if anyone's left from the cheerleading crew, but know that we took all the comments to heart, and we will look for a good solution that helps everybody out. Or else we'll just refer it to the new high school principal.
we'll remember a few cheers from back in the day. Choreographing might be a bit off. But we'll try our best.
No, seriously, we will address that. All right, we have a need for, I have one more item. I'm sorry, board. I sent out a survey to see what date was good for a board in service. And it came back that most people were interested in, I'm going to have to call it up, so you're going to give me a minute here. Okay.
It was a Monday. That's all I know.
Yeah.
I put down.
That's it. August 13th on a Monday from 9 till noon. I hadn't heard from Mr. Mattson, but if he's on vacation, that's probably why I haven't heard from him. OSBA will customize that in-service for us. And I just want to make sure that everybody will be there, because I don't think there's any sense to have it unless we can all be there.
Agreed.
Okay?
I'm sorry, it was August 13th from what time?
9 till noon.
And do we know where yet? Not yet.
We don't have a location yet.
Okay.
And I will get back to the presenter at OSBA tomorrow, and then we'll design what it is. So she said that she probably will have a little survey that she'll send to each of you so that she can kind of get the idea for what's most important to you. Okay?
Thank you very much. Appreciate
Mhm. All right, now we have a need for executive session for the purpose of employment and a sale of property. Anything else?
Security.
Security.
Yes, I'm sorry.
All right. So may I have a motion?
Motion.
Second?
Second.
Roll call?
Sorry. That's okay. Stahl?
Yes.
Havarchi?
Yes.
Barco?
Yes.
Yes. And it is 7:57. We will not take action after executive session. So thank you all for coming tonight.